Anyway, I hope that makes sense. I mean, the idea is that you can use your writing in between major parts of your story.
This ends now.
All right. Let's do some of these minor ones. Okay. Where's this archer? Oh, here we go. Bob and weave. Which way am I going?
You won't live to see tomorrow.
Whew. Okay. I was mainly worried about the guy in the heavy armor with that battle axe. He could definitely one-shot me. Anyway, hard for me to talk about stuff when I'm in combat. It's just too distracting. But hopefully that makes sense. I think a lot of times where people have difficulty is figuring out how to tie things together. Okay, so I finished this task. What's the next step? And so I think, first and foremost, making sure you understand intimately what drives your character, and then once you got that figured out, then it's a matter of figuring out how to glue things together. And like I said, stuff that I'm expressing to you in words right now, that's the stuff that frequently I would just make into a cutscene. And that's where I would do something like I would read you a journal entry, and then I would show you a cutscene of, a panning shot of the character. That kind of thing. So, just, food for thought, I think. As role players, we're always looking for ways to tie things together and, bring some continuity to what it is we're doing. It's not always easy to do, but it occurred to me that when I'm doing this, when I'm going through this thought process in my head about what's relevant and what's not, that is the stuff that ends up being a cutscene, and the cutscene is the glue. All right, so the tracks of our fleeing vampire lead us here. And here we find the Crypt of the Old Guard. If you are looking for this mod, go out on Nexus, Crypt of the Old Guard. It's quite excellent. And what I like is I like Serene's story, because her story sort of implies that the old Dawn Guard, members of the old Dawn Guard, were tasked with this idea of basically guarding the son of a nobleman who had become a vampire. I'm assuming because the nobleman didn't have the heart to kill his own son, so they basically imprison him and say, who better to guard a vampire than the Dawn Guard? But they eventually fall under his spell, and they start to admire his power and long for his power, and they turn to the dark side. the fact that this crypt is in this location so close to Riften makes me feel like it could have been the location where they were guarding this individual. And it said that they were basically running amok in Riften, so wherever they were housed, wherever they were headquartered, had to be in Riften. So this certainly would fit the bill. So this is the crypt of the Old Dawn Guard. We got a blood trail. All right. Let's be cautious. More blood. Dead vampire. There's 2 coffins in here, and another one up here. All right, where? All right, so blood trail. Blood trail. Blood. Prisoners. That looks like a secret door. So what Raiden's going to do... Let's see what we got. Got a bow. See? There's markers here. All right, we're not great with a bow, so let's get nice and close. you go. Dead Master Vampire. And look what he's wearing. Redguard Knight armor. Awesome. All right, so you may be asking yourself, what did you just do here, Stu? Well, obviously, I picked out a player home that I thought would fit my story, and I went forward and I investigated it to make sure that it would, in fact, fit my story. And I set the scene, basically. I set the scene for you so that I could kind of walk you through how I would tie these things together, but also set the scene for myself. All right? So basically what I did is loaded up the player home, came to investigate it to make sure it was going to suit my needs. And remember, you're talking to a guy here who doesn't mind spoilers. Now, if I was playing this not as a Let's Play, but strictly for myself, then I probably wouldn't have taken that extra step. I probably would have just loaded it up and said, hey, let's just go with the flow. Right? But I wanted to make sure in particular that it kind of fit the story. So that is what I did. And then I was thinking to myself, how do I tie it in? How do I tie it in? Because there needs to be some reason that he would come here. There needs to be something that leads him here. And so I thought, okay, sooner or later I'm going to get attacked by vampires, and I can say that I follow the trail of one of those vampires back to this location and I discover it. And Serene's lore that she tells you about the old Dawn Guard just helps to reinforce the scenario. It makes things bind together nicely in a way that I enjoy. So what I did is when you find this place originally, there are no vampires in it. So what I did is I came in here and I spawned in a master vampire and I fought him and I killed him and I stashed him in there. And the ironic thing is that the master vampire that came in when I spawned him in was wearing the Redguard armor. And it just so happens that we were attacked by one wearing Redguard armor on our way out of Fort Dawnguard. So it kind of fits in. Now, the other reason that was necessary is because if you're thinking about it realistically, if Raiden were to just stumble across this place, when you first come in, all the lights are on, all the torches are burning and all this stuff, and it looks like somebody is living here but is just gone for the day or something like that. And in that kind of a scenario, it would only make sense that Raiden would hang out and he would wait. He would lie in wait for this vampire and this vampire to return who was never going to return, and that scenario would just never end, right? So what I needed to do is also present a scenario that helps our protagonist be relatively sure that the last remaining vampire that was living here is now dead, and that he has the place to himself, and that the place is in fact hidden, right? So we track that vampire here, we find him dead, possibly killed in a battle with this guy, as if perhaps they went after one another. And then the one guy tried to hide, knowing that someone was coming in here to investigate, and just bled out inside that secret area. Who knows? All right, and now we can set it up with beds. So if and when we do have followers with us again, they could actually stay with us here in this place. So that's basically it, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to drop off some things here, and we are going to embark on the rest of our journey, and we will do that right after these messages from our sponsors. Here at Lost Barrel Brewing, we have a long tradition of crafting only the finest in ancient lagers. Great brews begin with great ingredients, and Draugr Lager is made from only the finest grains and hops, aged for thousands of years. Every batch is brewed with ice-cold water drawn from the deepest caverns below the earth, checked for body parts, and triple filtered through fairly clean burial linens, then aged for hundreds of years in elder gleam barrels. Draugr Lager is good, and is not meant for barmy, soft-gutted, plug-ugly tossers. Draugr Lager, the great taste of the undead, with no bitter afterlife.
Undead,
And we're back, dear friends. All right, so during the break, I took an opportunity to offload some stuff. So we can see here is our original set of armor from Chapter 1 of Raiden's career. So we don't have to carry that around anymore. I also offloaded some of the weapons that we had on us that we didn't need as well, and set the prisoners free. So they have been liberated, and they are off and on their way. Now, if you remember, we had Bolar's Oath Blade, we have Baptism in Fire, and then we had Dawnbreaker. So here's Dawnbreaker, Baptism in Fire up there. Don't know why it's lined up that way, but it just is. And Bolar's Oath Blade I am leaving here. I also offloaded some of the crafting materials that we had in our inventory, so we don't have to carry that around with us anymore. Put some books on the shelf. So we shed a lot of weight, which is actually really necessary now that we're going to be traveling alone for a while. So, all good to go, pretty much. Cleaned up the dead bodies of the vampires. We saw that whole thing. So, let's get some rest. Say like 6 hours, and then we'll head out. And the first thing we're going to do, first order of business, is we are going to go and find Floranteus and get him headed back to Fort Dawnguard. And he's at Runewald, which is actually not far from here. So we're gonna find him, send him on his way. And then we're going to continue on to Winterhold, which, after checking the map, I discovered is the location that we need to go to warn the Jarl. So, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the place that Raiden will be calling home. Now, the other thing that that I certainly considered, you may have considered, is the fact that he has discovered this location while he is solo, which means that neither Goldir or Serana know of this place. Only he does. And I think the jury is still out as to whether or not he would actually tell them about it or allow them to be here. It just kind of depends on how our story goes. So, let's talk about that story, shall we? Specifically, about the engine that is driving him right now. Now, we discussed this at length in the podcast last night, and that podcast will be published this Friday. For those of you who couldn't make the live stream, you'll be able to listen to that podcast. This coming Friday is when we hope to publish that, and it kind of goes over this concept in detail. And if you are a role player, this may also be something that you can take advantage of. Gods be praised. Charging power attack. Okay. So in Chapter 1, the engine that was driving this character was his quest for purpose. He was trying to find out what his purpose was in the world. He knows that he's an Ashaba. He knows that he was raised from birth to be an undead slayer. But his mother passes away before all of this can kind of come to fruition. She passes away suddenly before he can get all the answers he needs about what it all means. And so now he returns, or he comes to Skyrim and delivers an important staff to his biological father, which is something his mother asked him to do. He's not sure why she asked him to do that, but he suspects it's because she was concerned that he was going to be alone in the world now that she was gone, because all they had was each other. Now, the thing is that Raiden has never known his biological father. They have no relationship whatsoever. So Raiden found his biological father and gave him the staff, but his father didn't really realize at the time that he was talking to his child. He didn't realize that, and Raiden certainly didn't say anything. He has no sense of connection with the man. So he delivered the staff and went on about his business. So the engine that was driving him in Chapter 1, as I said, was this idea that he was trying to find his purpose, and what was fueling that quest, what was fueling that engine, was duty. He has this very, very strong sense of duty that I've been placed here on Mundus to perform this task. That is my duty, but I don't understand what performing this task means or how to go about it. And so, in his travels in Skyrim, he starts to come to the realization that maybe he knows, maybe he's starting to understand what his role is, because he looks around him in Skyrim and he sees all the madness going on here and says, I think I see a purpose. There's lots of undead, there's a vampire menace here, and, by the way, I happen to be good at dealing with those kinds of things. Now, we saw Chapter 2 begin with the stripping of his ability to channel souls. Done. There we go. So now suddenly he's unable to channel souls. And the reason for that has nothing to do with him deciding not to do it. It's just that one day the power was there, and then the next day the power was gone. So, to Raiden, what that signifies is that he has done something wrong. He has committed a transgression, and some being out there, some god or some being, has taken away the blessed ability that he had to channel souls. It's just gone, right? And so that reinforces this idea that he's done something wrong.
It's all clear now.
Right, it's all clear now. Yep, you're fine. You're fine. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that in Chapter 2, his engine and his fuel are changing. They have changed. So now the engine that is driving him is...
I was just now.
Is
for the help.
A...
And if you need any supplies,
shut up. It's a quest for redemption. Okay, and the quest for redemption is fueled by shame. So what that means is that he's going to be working ever harder to try and redeem himself. Okay, let's check our damn map. We're right on top of it. Why am I not seeing a marker? Well, let's keep moving on up here. And again, this is a concept that we talked about in the podcast because it's kind of a methodology that we were trying to convey to people as a way to get unstuck if you feel like your role play is stuck. Try to imagine what your character's engine is and what fuels that engine, and use that visual model, I guess, as it were, as a means for trying to reassert control over your story. Okay, how close are we here? I really don't feel like passing it. All right. All right. Now, Floranteus is a priest of Archay. Okay, did I not go up high enough? Is there a trail I'm missing here? Now, let's try and get up in here. There we go. He is a priest of Archay, so it's fitting that we would go after him, but I'm hoping that we will also be able to get training from Floranteus and we'll be able to continue, wow, our restoration training. Folks Journal. Oh yeah, there's vigilance here. What? What's going on?
Someone there? Huh? Now you're mine. Son of...
Oh shit. Crossbow. Keep jumping.
You can't beat me.
I just did. All right, if we got vigilance attacking us, that is a bad sign. So we're going to step it up.
What was that? Get it!
Raiden's really not going to like killing vigilance at all.
Is someone there?
Okay, let's take the high ground here. Damn it. I mean, how do I know who Floranteus is? At this point, it's kind of like panic mode, I would think.
Never should have come.
Yes. What is happening to them? Well, in the battle against vampires, if there is one thing that Raiden has learned the hard way, is that hesitation kills.
Now you're mine. You've already lost.
He went and got himself a weapon. That was pretty smart, actually. Went and retrieved himself at least a pickaxe. Okay, okay. Damn. Ah, did it again. Do this. Do I have... I don't have anything that's going to help me with regeneration.
Going to cry now, huh? You can't beat me.
Hanging on by a thread here.
I'll see you in pieces.
I'm gonna try to be sparing with the potion usage, you know?
You're nothing.
Damn it! It's not like I have a heck of a lot of healing potions, right? I got a lot of potions, but not a lot of healing potions. So I can't be just using them willy-nilly, so I try to refrain from doing that if I can. I don't want that. Thankfully, these vigilance might help me make up the difference. And this is a crying shame, really, because, you know, this is a lot of dead vigilance in a world that kind of needs them right now. So I'm thinking the tragedy of this situation is not going to be lost on Raiden, that's for sure. And at this point, he's going to be just hoping that Floranteus is not among the dead, but he doesn't know this guy. He's got, no way to know who Floranteus is. So right now he's just kind of crossing his fingers and hoping that Floranteus is as good as they claim he is. They also mention that Floranteus in some way was complicated, or that his relationship with the Vigilance of Stendarr was complicated as well. So it may be possible that he's associating with them, but he won't be in... Oh. He won't be in standard garb, like maybe he'll be dressed differently or something? I don't know. There have been a couple of those Vigilants we've encountered that weren't wearing the standard Stendarr robes and armor, however, so I don't know. It's going to be dicey. Alright, let's keep our eyes open for traps. There were a lot of traps up above. So... The Scripture of Minorn. Glory be to Minorn, glory be to the Mistress of all. My life for you, O beautiful Savior, where once my feeble ramblings seemed so grand, I now realize they are but scratches on parchment, unworthy of you. Oh, that I could properly describe you. I would write 1,000 testaments to you. Damn my tiny thoughts, if only I were wiser. Minorn asks that we bring more here for her, more to worship her and do her bidding. I have sent word to the Hall of the Vigilance to come. A simple lie was told, but they would not... A simple lie was told, for they would not understand. Not until they saw her, O glorious Minorn. But she is fearful. There are fools in this world that do not heed her beautiful voice. The guard Floranteus sent from the beacon. He still prays to Arche, an absentee god who pales in comparison to Minorn. I will pray to the goddess I can see. May he rot in his cage. Oh, sweet, sweet Minorn. All right. Well, that sheds a little light on the darkness, so to speak. So the Vigilants have been lured here. And they're being controlled in some way. Ah.
Give up.
Are you Floranteus?
I knew it. I knew Arche would save me. I asked for help, and he sent you. You are a very welcome addition to this dreary place, my friend. I owe both you and Arche a great deal. I'm sure I'll manage to repay him later. But you, what can I do to thank you?
Isran needs your help.
Isran? My help? Is this some kind of a joke? Did Arche put you up to this? Isran's done nothing but mock me. He's never given me the respect I deserve.
Please, we need your help.
Look, I've just got myself out of quite a mess here, in case you haven't noticed. And while I appreciate your help, What's that? No, that's not what I... Yes, but... Are you sure? Really? Fine. Arcade says it's a good idea for me to go. I don't agree. But he's not the sort of fellow you can just ignore. I'll see you at Fort Dawnguard then. Don't worry. Arcade will show me the way.
Well, let me see if I can't find the key. Huh. Minorn is not a vampire. I mean, there's no... There's no vampire dust. Right? All right, we're going to take all of these amulets of Stendar, and we're going to make sure that they are all accounted for and that they are properly laid to rest in a house of the dead. All right, hang on. Out you go. I will see you there. Hey, wait a minute. Are you... Okay, we can't talk at this point. All right, so we've met Floranteus. He is on his way. Now we're going to have a quick look around. And make sure that we've acquired anything useful in this place. Ethereum cores. I think I got a copy of that already, but we'll take it. Something open. Oh, this. Okay. Well, that is going to do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through there, through that whole place, and make sure I got all the loot that we need from that place. And then we will pick it up from here in the next episode. I want to thank you all for checking this out. If you'd like to get involved and play along with us, check out the unbound.charactercrusade.com website for all the current play rules and for our web submission form, where you can submit forms, and every 2 weeks we will address those. You can submit questions to the form. We will address your questions live on the podcast every 2 weeks. So I think the other thing that's important to remember here is that Character Crusade Unbound podcast can be found on both iTunes and YouTube, and all that stuff is linked from the website. So if you go to charactercrusade.com, right on the homepage there, you're going to find links to all of our podcasts on both iTunes and YouTube. You will also find a full schedule of all of our upcoming live streams and how to connect to them and all of that great information. And then if you'd like to get involved, for God's sake, get involved in our Discord community. That's where all this great conversation is going on, and everybody's kind of playing along with this challenge. You can find that by going to discord.charactercrusade.com. I want to thank you all, and I will see you in the next episode.